Hello everyone, this is part 8 in the series video regarding to spouse and communal partner in Canada. As you can see in the previous videos, I completed all the digital forms and the status of those forms are ready to submit. Regarding the PDF forms, I completed the form IMM 1344 already and uploaded in the system. I will put all of those links into the description below for you to catch up if you missed earlier parts. And in today's video, I will go over the form IMM 5532, the relationship information and sponsorship evaluation. And the form is designed for both the sponsor and principal applicants to share details about how the relationship started, how it has developed over the time, and how they support each other. I also assist you of how to sign in the form. Let's go back to the portal. You click on download button and keep clicking on the link. And up here you will see the download icon. You click on that and it will show up like this, okay? But don't worry, you just hit on that download button. And next, it will ask you to save the file in one of the folders that you want to save the file in. For example, in my case, I choose spousal sponsorship inland. But in your case, you can locate any folder that you want to put in. For example, desktop, okay? And then after that, you just need to locate the folders where the file was saved and then double click on that and then you open the file. Okay, here you go. That is the form IMM 5532. Let me zoom this out for you so that we can look at that better. Some notes for you before we start. This form needs to be filled by sponsor in part A, the principal applicant in part B, and both of them in part C. Okay, and after filling out, then you will need extra steps to work on the signature. I will show you pretty soon, all right? And the total number of signatures is 4. All right. The main purpose is to help IRCC assess the real relationship between the sponsor and the applicant, okay? And that is why they need to check your relationship history. When was the first time that you met in person and did you have any contact before and are you living together now? And IRCC also needs to verify that there is no legal or immigration obstacles from the previous sponsorship if you had in the past marriage. Okay guys, so let's start the form by filling out the personal information about sponsor and the principal applicant. The information here is very straightforward with the family name, given name, date of birth, and the client's ID. Okay, so you just fill it out. The client's ID in here, if you know, then you enter it. If you don't know, then just leave it blank. Okay, in case that the sponsor is permanent resident, then you can look for the UCI number at the front page of the PR card, or maybe you can look for that info in the confirmations of permanent residence. Okay, for the principal applicant, in the case of John Smith, he came to Canada to see me and he has a visitor visa, so I put the client's ID in here for him. That is also the UCI number in his visitor visa. Okay, so here it is. Now let's move to part A, that is to be filled out by the sponsor, and the first part is the sponsor employment history. And in this part you will need to give details of all employers that you have worked for the past 5 years. Okay, 5 years, and make sure that there are no gaps at all. And as you can see in the table down here, the date from when to when, of course, in the past 5 years. Okay, and the employer's name, that is the name of the company, the address and the phone number for each employer that you work. And then the next column, that is occupations or the position, and the last column, it will be the income per month. Okay, so for now, let me open the instruction guide for you so that we know how to fill out this part appropriately and correctly. All right, so guys, here is the guide. Okay, and then down you can see show instructions. And part A, that is sponsorship evaluations and informations about sponsor. You click on that, and question 1, that is sponsor employment history. In here you can see in the past 5 years, right? The past 5 years, for example, in an example that the IRCC gave us, that is from May 2011 until September 2016 to make up 5 years, okay? And as you can see here, make sure there are no gaps in time. So look at that. May 2011 to May 2013, and then after that it connects directly to June 2013, and then after that it connects directly May to June 2014, and then after April 2015, that is May 2015, and until now that is the year that IRCC gave us in the example, and then it means that there is no gaps in time, okay? Now, if you were unemployed, then you need to explain how you supported yourself in that period of time, all right? So in this sample, that person from June 2013 to May 2014, that person was not working, so he put down in here as unemployed and supported by mother and father, all right? If you were unemployed because of disability, and then you put it down in here, unemployed, and then dash disability support, okay? And next, if you were self-employed, then you write the name of your business and the date it was established. For example, in this case, he put down as self-employed, and that is the name of the company, and when did it start? In May 2015, okay? And then for your monthly salary or income, write the gross number, that is before tax, in the last column, okay? And then basically you put the company's name in here, and then the address and the phone number as instructed in this guide, okay? So let's go back to the form. So guys, here is the information that I fill out for Laura Smith, the sponsor in this application, on her employment history. Okay, as you can see in here, from 2020 to 2025, that makes up 5 years. Okay, and then it connects directly from the end of the first period, and then after that it connects to the first time of starting the new positions or new employment status, and then it just connect, and there is no gaps in time, okay? And then the first rows in here, as you can see, that is your current employers, and then you go backwards for 5 years, okay? And in the month, from the year and month, actually you don't need to put a dash in here. It comes up automatically. For example, 2020, and then you put 10, and then when you click on the other tab, and then it will show up as a dash in here. So because, for example, you put it 2022 and then you dash 08, it will not show up anything designed for that to fit in the column, okay? So in here you just put 08, and then click in the other box, and then it will come up directly, okay? Okay, so now let's go to the second part, that is other sponsorships. Let's go back to the guide so that we can see more information, okay? So here is question number 2, other sponsorship. It said that you will need to complete the table by writing the names and dates of birth for anyone that you have sponsored or co-signed to sponsor in the past. And you must include everyone that you have ever sponsored, even if they have not become permanent resident of Canada yet. And for each person that you will need to specify if you were sponsor or the co-signer, okay? So let's go back to the other forms so that we can fill it out. So here you go. Lucky me. I am Laura Smith. I haven't sponsored anyone in the past, and I'm not currently sponsoring anyone. So I select on no, and then I go to question number 3. Okay? And if you have anyone in the past that you sponsor or co-sign to sponsor, then you will need to enter all those information in here as instructed in the IRCC guide, okay? And then number 3, other financial dependent pupil. I don't have anyone at all, so I put it as an A, okay? That is, give details of any person who is financially dependent on you, whether they are living with you or not, and who is not already listed in the tables above, and include previous spouses or partners and any children from past relationships, all right? But if you don't have anyone, and then you need to put it as NA, not applicable. Number 4, that is the level of education. Just state the highest level of education that you have completed. For example, if you completed university or college, you put it in here, and then number of years. For example, I have 4 years only college. All right. Part 5 is address history. In here, you will need to list all addresses where you have lived in the past 5 years, and do not use a PO box addresses. Okay. So again, that is from date to date and street number, and don't leave gap in times. All right. Let's go back to the guide so that we can confirm the informations over there of how to fill out this part. Okay, question number 5, that is address history. And it said that addresses should be written out in full without using any abbreviations, and use the apartment or unit number, for example. Okay, that is the street number, street name, and then the unit or apartment number, the city, the province in Canada, and the postal code. Okay, and make sure that there are no gaps in time. Let's go back to the form to continue. So in the form, I fill out the addresses in the past 5 years already, and there was no gaps in time in here. Street number, city, province, and postal code and country are in here. Okay. And now, number 6, that is a residence in Canada. Do you live in Canada now? Yes, because I'm doing the inland spousal sponsorship in Canada, and I'm Canadian citizen. I live in Canada now. Okay. And then if you say no, and then you have to enter all those information in here. And remember that if you are permanent resident, you need to live in Canada in order to satisfy the physical presence in Canada, so that you can sponsor your wife or your husband in here. And of course, if you are a Canadian citizen and you live outside of Canada, then you will need to provide all the information to the IRCC, when you plan to come back to Canada, and where do you plan to live when you return to Canada. Okay, because those informations are required for sponsor and principal applicant. Okay, but in my case, I'm living in Canada now, so I select on yes. Okay, number 7, previous relationship. Have you ever been married or in common law partner with another person? No, that is my first marriage. Okay, if you do have, of course, you need to enter all those in here. Now, number 8, that is consent to disclose. That is voluntarily. Okay, that is maybe yes, maybe no, it's up to you. However, I will confirm with you in the guide now. Here, question 8, it said that please check yes or no to tell us if you consent to the results of a marriage fraud investigation being released to your spouse or partner. Okay, and again, your consent for these questions is voluntary. If you do not consent, then your application will still be processed, and they will not have a negative impact to your application. And I'm okay with releasing the results to my spouse, so I say yes. All right. And then after that, that is number 9, declarations of sponsor. I declare that the information that I have given is truthful, complete, and correct. Okay, and then you sign here and date in here. Regarding to the signature, I will need to fill out all of those information first, and then after that we can do another step so that we can do the sponsor signature and principal signature. It will be another step. Okay, so we just completed part A, and then now let's move to part B. That is the information about the principal, and it needs to be filled out by the principal applicant. Okay, and number 1, before this relationship, was your sponsor related to you in any way? In my case, no. Like in here, it explained that, for example, your sponsor was related to a family member of you, or maybe your sponsor family members was related to you, or a family of your families, like for example, brother, sister, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, something like that. Okay. However, if you don't have anything to related to you like that, and then you just say no. All right. And number 2, do you have any relatives living in Canada? The relatives here including the aunts, uncles, cousins, etc. Okay, and if yes, then you name all of them in here. In my case, in John Smith's case, he has no one living in Canada. Okay, And number 3, have you ever been married or in a common law relationship with another person? In John Smith's case, yes. Okay. If you don't have, then it will be perfect and simple. All right. And then you just click on no and then continue with the other question, like number 4, consent to disclose and declarations of the applicant. However, I want to make it more complicated a little bit by clicking on yes, and then I put down all the information of the ex of John Smith in here. In the application portal, he will need to submit the divorce certificate as well. Okay, so in here, number 3, I select yes, and then I put down the name of the ex in here. So guys, I fill out all the information in here already, so you can take a look, right? And then now, number 4, consents to disclose. Answering these questions is voluntary, okay? In the case of John Smith, he say okay, and then I click on the yes. Now, number 5, that is declarations of applicants. So again, the principal applicant need to sign in here and date in that box. You cannot sign in here now, but we will need to do an extra step for the signature, okay? So stay tuned and I will help you later on. Okay, so part A, part B are completed. Now let's move to part C. That is very, very important, guys. That is the information about the relationship, and it needs to be filled out by the sponsor and the principal applicant. Okay, both of you will need to sign in here. With many questions, that is the stories of your marriage, your relationship, and then the IRCC will need to know in detail. Okay. Number 1, when was the first time that you met in person? And you will need to answer all of those questions truthfully, honestly, and accurately. Okay. The date and where, and describe the circumstances that you first meeting that you know and you and the principal knows, and sit down together and then write all that information in here. Okay. And even did anyone introduce you, and then if you say yes, then you put down the name of that person down here in this box. In my case, no. And did you have any contact before you met in person? Yes, because we communicated via social media first. And then, are you living together now? So the answer is yes. Okay, hold on. Let's go back to number 1. When was my first time I met in person? That was in 2019. Okay, let's say that in Hanoi. And then I describe everything in here. Christmas. Okay, I will write it down later on based on my story. Okay. And number 3, let's go back to number 3. Are you living together now? So the answer is yes. And then if yes, and then how long have you been living together? I put down the time, like when he came to see me, and then we lived together in Canada. And then after that, we fill out the application for inland sponsorship application. Let's say put it down in here as 2025 in May the 1st. Okay, starting in that. I just put it down here so that later on I can come back and write down that story. Okay, so guys, in the next following questions, you just need to answer the questions truthfully. Okay, for example, if you are not living together, have you visited each other during your relationship? Yes or no? It's very straightforward and simple. Okay, if yes, and then you give all the details down here in the table. And the languages that you use when communicating with each other. Number 6, how often do you communicate when you are not together, and how? Like, for example, daily or weekly or whenever you have time. How? By phone, by email, by Facebook, by WhatsApp Messenger, etc. Okay. Number 7, number 8 is kind of the same, like very straightforward. Just write down your story in here. Okay. And then this one is very important. Did any of the following people go to any of the events above? The purpose is checking if the parents and the family members or relative of the principal applicant and sponsor recognize them as a husband and wife. Okay. And then you can answer accordingly, like principal applicant, parent attend, yes. The children, yes, because John Smith, the principal applicant, has one child, that is Peter Smith. Principal, other family member or relative, yes. And sponsor, parent, that is my parents, yes. Sponsor children, if applicable, no, because I have no children yet. Sponsor other family members or relatives, say yes. And then if I have nothing, no in here, and then I put it, I have Laura Smith, the sponsor has no children yet. Okay. Number 10, are either of you pregnant? You answer it in here, okay? Number 11, is there more information that you wish to share to support your relationship? Answering these questions, I will need to go back to the guide so that we can share more information on how to fill this part, okay? So guys, here is part C. Question 11 here. If you feel that something else might support your application and it was not addressed in previous questions, then please add it here. You do not need to add anything if you feel that there is enough information in your answer. Okay, so it means that it's not mandatory. Since it is not mandatory, so you don't need to fill it in if you don't want to. Okay. Number 12, the declarations of sponsor. I declare that the information I have given is truthful, complete, and correct. And then you sign in, the sponsor sign here and date. And then number 13, that is declarations of applicant. I declare that the information I have given is truthful, complete, and correct. The principal applicant signature in here and date in this box. Okay. Number 14, that is interpreter declarations. If you have, if you don't have, then just no. Okay, so just put it as NA. All right. Okay, so all of the part fill out already. Part A, part B, part C. A is for sponsor, B is for principal applicant, and C is for both of them. Okay, so now 4 signatures need to be typed. Okay. Look at this. We cannot type in here now. Let me take you to the guide again so that we can see how to sign in the form. Okay, the instructions on signature is here, guys. In order to sign this form, you will need to download the completed form. So it means that we completed form already. And the second step is go to File and select Print. The third step is select Microsoft Print to PDF from the printer location. And the next is save the file to your desktop. And then last, sign the form by typing your name in the signature fields. Okay, so let's go back and then follow up those steps in the form. All right. So guys, here are the spots that we will need to type the signatures of the sponsor and also the principal, okay, applicant, so that the total is 4 signatures. All right, and all you need to do is Control P, so make sure that you print. Okay, Control P, and then it will show up like this. And in this printer in here, you select Microsoft Print to PDF. All right, and then after that you hit on the print button at the bottom here. Click on that. Okay, and then now the file name, you will need to create a new name. For example, you put it is IMM5532 first. Okay, and then after that you put it in the desktop, locate it in desktop, and then save. Now you go to the desktop and then you locate the file IMM5532 first, the one that we just save it as PDF form. Okay, and then double click on that, and here you go. Here's the form, and then you can zoom it out. Okay, and now that is a PDF form. Okay, the PDF form, the form that you can type. I don't have a good app to do the screen recording regarding to this. However, as you can see on the picture in here with the PDF form, on the left side, you can see many options and with letter A, and then you can click on that, and then it will show you the type text, and then you select type text. Okay, and then that is how we can type the text in the box. In here, you can select the type text, and then put it down here, the tab in the sponsor, signature, and then you put her name, Laura Smith. All right. So that is done with the signature of the sponsor, and then you put down the date in here as well, 2025, no, October 10, for example. Okay. And then after that, you locate the signatures of the applicant. You put a tab in here, and then you type John Smith. And then in this box, you put the date. Okay, because John Smith and Laura Smith is living together, so it's easier for them to type together, to work together on this. And basically, John Smith need to type his name on here. Okay, now let's go to the signature of both sponsor and applicant in part C. Again, you put down type Laura Smith, and then type the date in here, and then John Smith, the principal applicant, and you type the date in here. All right, so it's pretty easy, right, guys? So guys, we just completed of the 4 signatures in the form, 2 from the sponsor and 2 from the principal applicant. All right, and then after that, you save the file and get it ready to upload in the application portal. Let's go back to the portal so that we can upload the form. So guys, here is the application portal. Okay, you locate the form IMM 5532, and here you upload the form. You locate it in the desktop, the one that you save it as PDF file with your signature, and then upload here. It said that your document was successfully uploaded, so everything is good now, guys. Okay, so thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video. Bye bye, have a good day.